All right, next up, we've got UCLA, and I agree with that. UCLA and Rutgers. Rutgers, 6.5-point home favorites, 40.5 the total. We got to start talking about, now, it's interesting. Going into last weekend, in the Big Ten only, but it was only a Big Ten trend. Going into last weekend, the teams that had to travel either east to west, 2 time zones or more, or west to east, 2 time zones or more for a game, were 1-7. Straight up 1-7 against the spread going into last week. Now, last week we saw Minnesota pull one out at UCLA, and we saw Penn State pull one out at USC, but they didn't cover. They won, but they didn't cover, both of those teams. So I think the ATS number, now I think it's 3 or 4 wins for teams that have had to travel in the Big Ten, but I think it's still like 1-point spread cover out of like 10 or 11 or 12. Like, these have been clear as day that. And look at Oregon. And there's another example. Ohio State making the travel west 3 time zones, and they lost, and it didn't cover. So betting on teams, in this case, in this game, UCLA, traveling west to east or east to west 2 or 3 time zones, you've been paying the price for it. It's just been consistent all year long in the Big Ten for sure. So, but can I lay 6.5 with Rutgers? I mean, to me, it's Rutgers or no bet. I'm not taking UCLA in this spot. Traveling cross country, heartbreaking, gut-wrenching loss against Minnesota. They should have beaten the Gophers last week, but they couldn't hang on at the end. Brosmer led them down the field, Minnesota, for the game-winning touchdown. Can't bet UCLA in this spot off a loss like that traveling east. But can we lay 6.5 with this Rutgers offense? They just got absolutely, blanketed by Wisconsin at home last week. And I'm not a fan of Kaliakmanis at all, as far as the quarterback position is concerned.
Yeah.
So that's my only hang up here. Is there enough offense in this Rutgers team? Because UCLA is better on defense than they are on offense. UCLA is probably not going to move the football a lot here on the road against this Rutgers defense. But can I get enough offense from Rutgers to want to take them here? I mean, Kaliakmanis was a disgrace. 12 for 32 and an interception against Wisconsin last week. But this travel situation is a real thing. It's been terrible for these teams in the Big Ten, west to east or east to west travel. So it's Rutgers or pass, but I'm not giddy to lay this many points with an offense that looks pretty inept. C-Mac, what do you think?
This is the one I have to take the under on, even at this number. Yeah, Kaliakmanis last week. One thing, they never got to 3, Babano, so I stayed off because it got to 1, and I was just kicking myself I didn't take Wisconsin. That's 2 weeks in a row. That's not. I've been thinking about it too often. The problem with UCLA, pretty good again against the run. Holding teams to under 100. They give it up against the pass, but you got a guy in Kaliakmanis who can't throw it. So I don't know how much Rutgers is going to do here, and I don't know if UCLA can really do anything. And this you talked about going all the way to New Jersey. These travels are the shits, man. I mean, they're just going back and forth. This seems just like a dead under snooze fest. I couldn't lay it with Rutgers. They could win here by a touchdown or so, but just the under for me here.
Yeah, I hear you. I could only look Rutgers, though. I know, boy, that offense, man, it leaves a lot to be desired right now. That quarterback stinks.
It was bad.
That's all there is to it. I mean, we saw it at Minnesota, and we're seeing it now at Rutgers with the Greek Stallion. That Stallion's got to be put out to pasture, I think.